One of the things that have made my transition so much easier here is the deep spirit of collaboration. And I am very fortunate to have in my 11 County district 3 wonderful university partners who have reached out and have really helped us put a united front on higher education for our region, and working together to retain our students, retain our employees, and probably new and in different ways. And I'm finding myself speaking more around the country about some of these strategies that we've been using here. And to us, it seems very simple, but it just hasn't been really done, not at the level that technical and community colleges and 4-year partners have been doing. For Catherine, myself, and Jim, and Maria, we've been used to this type of thing, but it's not common. So I'll speak a little bit about that. Mostly, when I'm asked to speak, I speak about our students and training the talent pipeline for the area. And we certainly do that in many ways. It's really important for us that we have students be retained in the areas in which they live. It would do the communities that I serve no good to have students all come to Eau Claire. We want them to stay in their cities and help them grow. And so there's been a number of things that we've done to try to bring our programs into these communities, including the innovation grant that we recently were awarded for $10 million. And that really helped us bring in mobile labs and short-term training to industry there and the high schools. But we also realize that many of our students come to CBTC because they intend to transfer. They want to go to a 4-year partner. And so my university partners and I have been working really hard this year in creating seamless paths to transfer. That's really important for our students. They expect that of us, and we have to make that possible. We know that education is not a one-way street anymore where you just go to traditionally and you stop. We retrain, unlearn, relearn, have new careers. And so we will find that our students are kind of going through our different institutions at different times in their lives. And so we really want to create that seamless transfer for them, that pipeline for continuous education. And that just helps our region. They don't need to go anywhere else. We have everything that they need right here. But as an employer, I have not been immune to some of the same things that we've seen across our state. Folks thinking about leaving, changing. Sometimes they go to other institutions, which we're okay with, but we want them to stay here in the state. And so at CBTC, we've done a number of things this year to focus on retaining our talent and our employees. We focus a lot on retaining students, which is very important, but if we don't have trained and happy employees, then that's not going to happen. So we embarked in a compensation study to make sure that we had marketable outcomes for all of our employees. We reorganized our organization to have professional development be under talent and culture, which is formerly human resources. And that team will make sure that all of our employees are continuously trained and they are retained, not just onboarding and exit. And the chancellors and I have also worked on joint professional development for our folks. They're all instructors, they're all teachers. They have the same skill sets, and so we need to train them together. So we're sharing resources in order to maintain that talent. And so sometimes I will welcome folks that have worked at one of the other sister schools, or sometimes we'll have them go there, and we're okay with that as long as they stay in the region and they continue to grow. So it's just a few of the strategies that we've been doing at CBTC. I know that industry constantly asks us, are they ready yet? Are they ready to come to work? And we'll say, well, they're not quite finished yet. They need to get all of the skills that they need, but sometimes they need them right away. And we're happy to have them either transfer or go right into the workforce. And then we continue their education right there where they work. So we have a very robust workforce development department that focuses on training incumbent workers. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Catherine. I think she's going to build on my comments a little bit.
Yep. So emphasizing that pipeline, right? And emphasizing the network that we heard so much about in the first session. I think that is something that is truly unique about Wisconsin. I know coming from out of state to Wisconsin, what attracted me to the system was the system, the UW system. And most states don't have this, right? We have a UW institution within reach of just about every potential student in the state. And that's truly remarkable and very, very important. It's also important that we have this very strong technical college system, right? That helps with what I love how Sunam describes it as on-ramps and off-ramps into the higher education context. And we're all of my colleagues in this room and across the state are thinking about how to serve a more diverse student population, diversity defined in different ways, including those traditional students that enter along what we would consider a more traditional pathway into higher education, as well as those that take those on-ramps and off-ramps at different times in their life, and how we can better accommodate those students. That network is critical to this state. It was what makes Wisconsin really special in the higher education space. Some of the things that we do at Stout that I think can be replicated in even more ways across the state, and I know my colleagues are working on it, but something that we call out as very important to the Stout experience is our employment rate, right? It's over 98%. It leads the UW system. It leads the technical college system. And that's not just magic. That doesn't fall from the sky and there we go, right? Our students are well prepared to succeed in the workplace. It's because of the fact that 100% of our students are required to engage prior to graduation. It is a graduation requirement and an experiential learning opportunity. And the majority of those are internships and co-ops. So our network of industry and business partners is immense. Just like with SUNM, all of our academic programs have program advisory committees. So we have hundreds of business and industry experts that are directly involved in how we build our curriculum and how we prepare our students for success post-graduation. And to go back to some of the statistics quoted during the first panel, almost 60% of our students at Stout stay in the state after graduation. 60%. Okay, that's significant. If we could replicate that across the state, that is a retention strategy, right? That is something that we can continue to grow. Also noted during the first panel are starting wages. They matter. They matter to our graduates, and it is a competitive workplace out there now. So and as my colleagues, Jim and Maria will comment on, our students have multiple job offers before they graduate from our institutions. So while I quote the 98.4% placement rate that we have, more than 70% of our students have a job before they graduate from Stout. And they have multiple offers. And we at Stout have the highest starting salary, median starting salary upon graduation. But it could be much better because we lose students to competing salaries. So if we want to keep more than 60% of our students in the state upon graduation, and remember, 26% of our students at Stout come from Minnesota, right? So if we want to retain more, we have to think about these starting salaries. That is a really important fact, right? So that network is critical, the network across our educational system, but also the network that we build as individual institutions with our business and industry partners. So it's important what we do in and outside of the classroom, operations like our Manufacturing Outreach Center, which has been in existence for about 28 years, and at this point has served almost 5,000 small and mid-sized manufacturers across the Northwest region. We serve about between 55 and 60 small and mid-sized manufacturers per year. That's critical to that feedback loop. So the more that we can be capitalizing on the many different connections that exist, and to the degree possible, not compete with each other, although there's always friendly competition, right? But rather collaborate and partner, the stronger network we have to support those students post-graduation. It's going to help on the front end of the funnel with respect to attracting students. It's going to help us retain our students, because that's another thing we want to do, is retain them while they're in the educational pipeline. And it's going to help us on the tail end as we retain talent for the state of Wisconsin.